Hi, I'm Eric Lipsey, and this is Golf. Today, I'm here with Lou of Lou Leake Solutions. Thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here. And you've been doing a phenomenal job helping other people.
Thank you.
And I'm just glad to be here. So thank you so much. How are you doing today?
Very good, very good, very good.
Good.
I'm excited about this interview. Like I was telling you earlier, I was looking around for someone who could do this. So I was really glad that you could step up to the plate to help us out here.
Absolutely. And that's something that I absolutely love to do. It's always been my desire to help others find a way financially to be secure, And so this was just a great opportunity, especially after I realized the help that you've been doing. It was just a no brainer for me for us to connect. So happy to do it.
Outstanding. Okay, well, for those of you who are tuning in, we are talking today about wills and trusts. It's something I've heard a lot about, but I don't know it in detail. So Lou is here today to kind of walk us through the process of what that looks like. So maybe we'll start by talking about wills. Now, what exactly is a will and why are they important?
Wills, so simply put, wills is a document to express your last wishes
Mhm.
to your friends and family. And also, the will also help determine who managed your affairs after the distribution. Now, whenever someone is awarded a distribution, you're not it's not official until the distribution is made. So you may be in a will,
Mhm.
but if it hasn't been distributed, it's, nothing is happening until that is absolutely done. And so to keep it simple, it's a document to fulfill your last wishes.
Hmm. All
Yeah.
right. Thank
Mhm.
you. Now, what are some of the ramifications? Let's say a person passed away and they don't have a will in place.
Yeah, and we've experienced, that just through celebrities, right? We've
Mhm.
heard of like Prince not
Yes.
having a will, Aretha Franklin, Flojo, and we were able to see and witness that, firsthand because their families, first of all, like with one of the celebrities, I do believe it was Flojo, she had a will, but no one knew where it was
Ah,
and they couldn't find it. And with Aretha Franklin and Prince, they just didn't have a will at all. And so some of the ramifications about that is it you don't know which family member is going to get your estate.
mhm,
um, it'll go through court, which it'll go through probate, and it's a long, drawn out process.
mhm.
And so you don't want the state to handle your affairs because you really don't know what's going to happen to your estate, the estate that you worked so hard for,
Right,
and so when you're working hard as an entrepreneur, you want to leave a legacy for your family.
right.
And the best way to do that is to be able to leave it in a will. So that way people will know where to distribute everything.
Okay. Yeah, that's really great because I imagine there's a lot of family dispute or people just end up falling out with each other just because there wasn't something solidified. Well, I've heard people have had issues regardless, but especially if
Yeah.
there's nothing, then they're fighting over things this whole time, which could
Yes.
really cause discord in the family, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely. And in addition to that, there is a lot of people who may feel they don't have anything.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't have enough to have a will.
Oh,
But
oh, yeah.
if you have a car, I mean, something simple as a car or anything that you possess of value,
Mhm.
then it's definitely worth putting it in a will because, again, we wouldn't know who to give it to. And so those things are certainly important. And anything that you have,
Mhm.
it is worth placing it in a will so everyone can know your last wishes.
Yeah, I even imagine that sometimes, even when you have, let's say, if you have a will and maybe you have accounts set up, trade accounts, whatever the case may be, that you have passwords to, that sort of thing. I
Yes.
imagine it could be really tough if nobody knows how to access that after you
Yes.
pass.
And you will be absolutely amazed how, lost family members are
Hmm.
when their loved ones pass away. They have no clue where to start, where
Wow.
to begin to
Yeah.
look. And I feel like a lot of the times either, people aren't knowledgeable enough to know, or they put it off,
Right.
feeling that they have time.
Hmm.
But what I want to encourage everyone is this is part of, finances. This is so you can be financially sophisticated.
Hmm.
It's important to, definitely have your own business account,
Hmm.
other business things, but to have a will, that's another financial component that a lot of people often overlook.
Now, I know one of the things that you do is help people with wills or putting together wills. How should one go about setting up a will outside of contacting you? What are some of the things that people need to make sure that they're covering when setting up a will?
And this is another thing I love about wills, because with the will, it's very easy to fill out, and it takes out the guesswork for you. So let's just say, for example, you have someone and they say, well, I have no idea, I don't know where to begin in filling out a will. Well, it's almost like an application, and
Mhm.
so it takes the guesswork out for you, so
Okay.
you just follow the prompts.
Hmm.
And so it'll ask you certain questions, and you just follow those easy prompts. And it's really simple. It really, really is. And but that's how easy it is. It's just filling out the document, following the prompts, and then before you know it, you're completely done with it. And then
All
you
right.
can just file it away.
Now, I imagine that it's probably a little different depending on how many assets you have in your control. But how long would you say it would take to put together a will using the questionnaire process?
It doesn't, it depends again about what you just said, depending on how many assets you have, it
Hmm.
really depends on the amount of time. So that will depend from person to person.
Right.
But overall, if someone just give themselves like a Sunday afternoon when nothing's really going on, and just dedicate, I would say maybe an hour or so
Okay.
to fill it out, you can get it done. And depending on what you have, the assets, it could be, you may have to take a break and then come back to it, depending on what information you may or may not have at that time. But it's definitely doable, and it can be done in one day.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I imagine it's something you want to take your time with because you don't want to do that
Yes,
haphazardly. Because if you leave stuff out, you
yes,
kind of defeated the whole purpose of
yes.
doing it to begin with. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You definitely want to take your time with it. When you're done, have someone to look over it to make sure cross your T's and dotted your I's and
Mhm.
everything. So, absolutely, very good point.
All right. All right. So the next thing we want to talk about, we've covered wills. The next thing I want to dive into is trusts. Now, what is a trust and how is it different from a will?
Okay, so I personally love trust because having a trust is the best way to avoid costs. And believe it or not, when you have a will, and we can kind of compare and contrast as we go, but having a will, your your will still has to go through probate.
Uh-huh.
And the only difference is whenever it goes through probate with the will, it's everything is already designated. So when everything is said and done, when it goes to court and everything, it's really a simple process, but it still goes to court. Now, having a trust, you are protected from one, from being sued. So let's just say you have, as an entrepreneur, you have a business and you want to protect it from, in the event someone tries to sue you, you can protect yourself by putting all of your everything, all of your assets in a trust. And so you'll be able to spread your estate over to different people. You can designate it however you wish. So you can designate certain percentages or certain items. So, like, have you heard of like trust fund babies?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that's a perfect example because the trust fund babies have grandparents, typically grandparents,
Hmm.
because a lot of people don't know this. Like, grandparents typically take care of the grandkids,
Hmm.
and then the parents, as they get older, they take care of their grandkids. And
Hmm.
so the grandparents typically have a trust for their grandkids. And so that's how, it builds up over time, and they can distribute it along the way. It doesn't have to be a total cash out
Hmm.
type thing, but you are definitely more protected from being sued. You have a lot more flexibility with the trust. It's You can save a lot of money on taxes.
That's always
Definitely
great.
contact. Yes, so there's a lot of pros to having a trust. It's almost like a two-in-one. You have a designation, like a will, but it's
Mhm.
also doubly secure as well.
I see. Now, are there any downsides to having a trust?
Um, I don't think that there are any downsides.
Okay.
Because again, you're protecting your family. This is
Hmm.
something, yet again, that you're able to leave and pass down to your family members. And
Hmm.
they don't have to worry about, like, if you ever want to make sure your family is safe and secure, that's usually top priority. And if you want to make sure they're safe, it's definitely to have a will and a trust. Now, the process to fill out a trust is actually similar to a will.
Okay.
So those same prompts that you would get with the will, to help you figure out, okay, where does this go? What information do I need to put here? So it makes everything very, very easy for you. I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed at the thought of, oh my gosh, I have to fill out a trust or
Yeah.
a will. I want you to, for all of your listeners, I want them to know and be safe and secure and walk away confident. There's
Hmm.
nothing like the confidence and security of knowing that your family is well protected.
Yes.
You can really, really sleep good. It's almost like the feeling of having insurance. We
Right.
all make sure we have insurance,
Right.
right? And to take it to the next level is having that will and trust, which is super, super important.
All right. So there we have it. A will is good. A trust is better.
Yes.
Because I've even heard of someone talk. Well, back when I was going through real estate school, we talked about escheat, and and the guy said, "Yeah, that's where the government cheat you out of your inheritance or whatnot." So, and I guess I've heard that where the government can take possession of some property if there's no will in place until things are sorted out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct. And while we're on the subject of wills, it's also important to have a living will. So that's important as well. And a living will is good to have in the event you're not able to speak for yourself.
Oh, okay.
And so you may want to list out how you would want to be handled, how your affairs to be handled in the event that you're in the hospital, you can't speak or do for yourself in that moment. Someone will know how to make sure you're handled during that time of need. And so
Good point.
a lot of the times you may have heard this, like if you're in the doctor's office, they'll ask if you have a living will. And that's why, because they want to know who's handling, what are your last wishes, or what are your wishes in the event that you can't speak for yourself. So I want to just kind of throw that out there
Yeah,
as
no, that's
well.
great. That's great because it's one of those things where we mostly think, and it's not, I don't think it's a matter of arrogance, but we always kind of have this thought in our minds that this will never happen to me. This
Yes,
situation, oh, it happens. This is stuff that happens to other people. I never be in
yes,
this position. And I think that sets us up for failure as far as setting up wills and trust and having insurance and things like that, because we
I
think
agree.
that these tragedies and misfortunes are things that happen to others, not ourselves.
Yes, yes, and I agree, and I want to change, definitely want to change people's mindset about that.
Mhm.
And not that that'll ever, we don't want anything to ever happen to anyone,
Right. Yes.
but it's just, once again, it's just making sure you're safe, making sure your family is safe,
Mhm.
and that's just part of having an all-encompassing financial, security. So that's definitely important to have and to keep in mind.
Outstanding. Well, those are all the questions I had for you today. Now, for our listeners who may want to reach out because they're intimidated by wills or trust, or just want you to walk them through the process of getting one set up, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
The best way to reach me, you can call me. My number is 469 area code 389-0998. Or you can email me at LouLeake @gmail.com. Now, to all of your listeners, if you're feeling like, okay, this still sounds a little overwhelming, um, everything sounds simple, but I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Mhm.
I want to do a free consultation for all of your listeners. So
Thank you.
just reach out to me, and I will definitely be happy to assist and just kind of guide you in the right direction. So that way you'll be able to be confident in knowing, which direction is the best way to go in for you.
Thank you very much. That's outstanding. And you guys, I encourage you to reach out to her. Hey, she's offering you a free consultation, so you can't really beat that. Again, this is Lou with LouLeake Solutions. And thank you very much for sharing your time with us and sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys have been great, and I look forward to seeing you guys again.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Until
All
next
right.
time, this is Galt.